Hi everybody and welcome to this course guide video for the Chateau Lavande in Golf Clash here on BK Golf Clash YouTube channel. Please give me a thumb up and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Hit the bell button so you get notified when new videos go live. Now the point of these videos is that we look at one course in particular from a variety of viewpoints. So that's tour play, checkpoint challenge and also tournament play. I give you the overviews on the screen with some general elevations on the routes you might need to take according to what game mode you're playing and what types of shots you might like, and favour some strategies as well depending on whether you're playing tournaments or tour play, and also whether you're playing front tee, middle tee or third tee. You will need to tweak anything shown in the video because obviously everybody plays this game in a different way, but we start with the par 4s, then go to the par 5s, and then finally we look at the par 3s. Remember to check out all the other content on the channel homepage. So let's have a look at Chateau Lavande. This par 4 presents a brilliant eagle opportunity if you have tailwind, and if you do have any tailwind then the black arrows, the black route, is the method that I would be recommending. Now, regardless of what tee you're playing from, you're going to want a load of topspin. So if you are a newer player, rookie, pro division in tournaments, the big topper is probably going to be the one for you. If you don't have that, or if you've got a better driver available, in fact going up into expert and master, then the Thor's hammer is going to be a very good alternative if you want something with more accuracy, or of course you've got high level apocalypse, but you need to put as much topspin on as you can. Bounce where the red dot is. Generally I play this one 10% elevation. In high winds you may want to play max plus 15 on the drive, and you want to basically trickle the ball down from the second fairway to the green. Now there are little hazards to deal with. You may get a bump on one of the rocks there and stay in the rough. However, if you do that, it's a very simple rough iron save from there, which you probably will make because it's short distance. All being well though, you roll out onto the fringe for a wedge or a putt. So that's the black line. Any tailwind, I would go with that. If you've got more crosswind, you could go down the middle, which is the white route. However, the bushes are in play, so make sure you don't clip them and don't aim too far to the right, because you see where the tip of that long white arrow is, it slopes to the right hand side and you can easily roll into the rough. But if you find the fairway, you can play a short iron there from close to minimum distance. If you have headwind, I would play the blue line here, 10% on the drive, just bounce over safely, get as much distance as you can, and then play 30% elevation to the green. Obviously you have a lot more distance to cover there, so depending how you are on your drive, it is either going to be long iron or wood club, but it is massively downhill on this par 4. Two routes here on this hole. I favour the left hand side really in all wind angles, playing with topspin over the rocks, 10% elevation. Again, a driver with topspin is good here, so you want the big topper, or if you've got a better accuracy driver, Thor's hammer, extra mile, 8, 9 is good. Get yourself as far of the way down that fairway as possible. Now you should, in tailwind, get to maximum thorn or short iron for your approach, 20% elevation there on the black line approach to the green. If you have headwind though, and you're not going to get that distance off the tee, you will be playing close to minimum distance with your long iron. So that is my main route, the left hand side. But the right hand side is also a possibility if you can land on that small piece of fairway. If you have strong tailwind off the tee, then you can play more aggressively, and then you have a flatter approach, in fact 0 elevation with the white arrow there, and you're most likely going to be in short iron range. So it's up to you whether you want to play left or right, but like I say, I would favour driver with topspin and a decent power ball. It doesn't need to be a high power ball, but something that is going to give you enough distance off the tee without having to adjust into overpower, especially if there's an element of headwind on the tee shot. Very interesting options available here. We're going to talk about the black line first. Now this is mainly an aggressive tournament play. I wouldn't really recommend it for tour play as it's not the most consistent, and that would be a power slice shot from the tee. Going along the curve of that fairway to the left. Like I said, it's mainly a tournament route. You will need a decent amount of topspin and a driver with a lot of curl, so it would be an APOC shot there. But generally, tour play, CPC and tournaments, you're going to want to look at the white line, 20% on the drive, general elevation, bounce over to the second fairway, That leaves you a rough bump for the eagle, or you just play a containing shot and get yourself onto green if you want to take it to shootout in tour play. The approach though is considerably downhill, so I would play that on 30% elevation. Things you need to watch there though is adjusting down into the bunker or up on the slope. The blue line is an aggressive tailwind shot, again primarily for tournaments, but not out of the question in tour play if you're feeling brave. That would most likely need a power 8, 9 or 10 ball, so we're looking at a berserker here, and really for the most success in tournaments you need pretty much straight tailwind and a decent wind strength, so I would only recommend the blast shot really for expert and master. If you want to support the channel, you can join us on Patreon. 10% off membership offer. We have club charts there for all the clubs in the game. We have general elevation sheets and shootout sheets for each tour. When there is a tour rotation, we get those out very quickly. And also CPC sheets as well as early access to content here on the channel and some member exclusives. So head over there, patreon.com/BK Golf Clash. On this par 5, I generally only play on the right-hand side, even in headwind. Now, for headwind, I would play the white arrows, bounce nearer to the tee on the fairway, hopefully with a club driver with a ball guide and accuracy. So we're looking at the quarterback or the rock, or Thor's hammer if you have that, would save you needing too much overpower. You want to lay up in headwind because you're not going to get over the rough at all. And then in that headwind scenario, I would play a long-distance wood club, big dog, or cataclysm bounce on the small fairway pad to the right and just low of the green, playing the drive 20% elevation. The approach, generally, I would play 10%, and you're going to use some left curl and left spin and just hold the ball at the side of the green for a wedge. That would not be seeking an albatross at all. Now, the black line in anything with an element of tailwind, you can go for it over the rough and the bunker. Now, you will need some topspin here. I would recommend at least 4.5 topspin. Hopefully, though, 6 if you have it. So extra mile 8, Thor's hammer. With some left curl and left spin, get yourself over there. That will leave you a long iron, rough bump, 0% on the approach. You can see that with the black arrow, and the red dot is where your aim is going to be. Something to watch there, though, is if you adjust into the bunker, that is going to cause you to lose distance on your shot. So that is primarily a tournament route. However, the rough is not slim. There is a good amount to aim at. So in tour play, it might well be worth a go as well. So 0% is my general elevation on the approach if you want to go for the rough bump. A very long par 5 here, and I generally only ever play on the right-hand side. If you can reach directly to the second piece of fairway with your driver off the tee, definitely for rookies and pro and expert players, then do that. But however, in headwind for middle tee and usually off third tee as well, you may well need to bounce over and use some topspin and get yourself as far down as you can. On the drive, I play 10% elevation there, and this is all about distance, so I would use really a minimum power 6 ball in general tour play here for all tees. Obviously, if you've got the higher tour or you're playing in tournaments, you may want to upgrade yourself to a power 8 or 10 ball, but generally there is distance needed here, not just off the tee, but also on the approach. Now, 10% on the drive. The approach generally plays 40% elevation. There's a lot of wind effect to deal with. It is massively downhill, and most likely you're going to be playing with your wood club. If you have heavy headwind, Cataclysm or the big dog will come in handy here. You will need some topspin though as well. But if you've got a decent wind angle, you will be in sniper range, and you can either bounce where the red dot is there for a standard bounce up, or in tournament play, the rough bump is an option there as well. However, there's not a great amount of margin for error, so in tour play, I'd probably shy away from that. That's where the light blue dot is. But both of those shots will need downhill elevation, 40% generally for the bounce up, probably a little bit less for the rough bump because you haven't got the ball in the air as long. But that is something you would need to just take a practice token or try out a few times first. Two main routes to discuss here. Let's look at the white line first. Now that is going to need some top spin and left spin, and most likely some left curl. 10% elevation there. In more level crosswind, that is the route I would take, particularly if you've got wind from right to left, as it will help with the natural path of the ball. From there, you're going to have a wood club shot. You can either bounce over the rough and the sand and get yourself safely to green, or you can play a rough bump. There's a lot of margin for error there, and you can apply spins, and there's a nice little, I wouldn't say a massive funnel, but a nice little roll down to the pin. And you've got margin for error with the great left or right, even with a low accuracy wood club. Black line in tailwind, you can bounce on that centre pad and get as much distance as possible, and you're either going to have a long iron or a wood club depending how much distance you have and what wind angle you have on the second shot. Now what isn't shown is kind of a third tee and maybe second tee in high winds, headwind scenario, and you may well only be able to reach to that first fairway to bounce on and then go over to the second fairway on the right, in which case you're going to have to try and get to green in two with a long distance wood club. But for me, the black line is the most advantageous in terms of securing your albatross, followed of course by the white root rough bump. If you want to see some of the shots mentioned in this video, you can check the description down below. We're going to put some links there to old tournament playthroughs and shots that illustrate some of the plays available on this course. So remember to have a look at those. According to your clubs, balls and play style, you may need to tweak, but they will give you an example of some of the routes and types of shots that are available that will help you out in your games. The easiest of the par 3s on this course, you've got a few options here. The black line is your most common tournament route because it offers the best chance of a hole-in-one, and that's the rough bump playing from the top left corner of the bunker. 15% general elevation for all of these routes. However, with the rough bump particularly, you will need to take note if you are adjusting into the bunker to compensate and allow for that when you set up your shot. But you should get a decent, reliable ball guide to the hole. Now the other two lines are more for tour play because you might not want to risk the rough bump because you're off slightly with your adjustment or you're not compensated. For the wind angles, you may of course plug into the sand or miss the rough completely. So for tour play and shootouts in checkpoint challenge, either the white or the blue line. White line, I kind of like that one if the wind is going left to right because it follows the direction of the hole. And similarly, blue line, if you've got wind that's going from right to left because the flight of the ball is going with the direction of the wind. Obviously you would need to set your spins accordingly. There's no one spin that will work depending what tee you're playing from. Obviously third tee you are going to have a bit more angle to the pin with the white line, so that may be more of a blue line thing there, but definitely from front tee and middle tee, both of them are options. Rookies, I would favour the white line though on the left hand side, but like I said, 15% general elevation there. Rough bump if you're playing tournament, bounce up if you are playing shootouts in tour play or CPC. Speed control is the key on this one. At the top third of the green, beyond the pin, towards the rough at the back, that does slope downhill. So if you come in too hot, you are most likely going to roll potentially into the rough, which is obviously not advisable in any game mode in the game. You've got kind of two options here with the clubs that you use. Looking at middle tee specifically, you can use the Guardian and play with more backspin. You can also use the Sniper. Here you can go directly at the hole on the black line, bouncing in line with the pin, or you can play with a bit of left spin and kick the ball kind of into the pin there with the white line. 15% general elevation. Front tee, backspin of course is required, and make sure you have enough on whatever club you are using. Now from third tee, we're going to just look at that little blue dot that's on the black line there, because that is a very nice wood club bounce over in tailwind and cross tailwind angles. Any headwind though, I'd be favouring playing further up from third tee between the bunkers where the red dots are, as you will need to use a driver then, and again you will need an adequate amount of backspin so that you don't roll long on this par 3. By far the toughest par 3 on this course. This is not easy at all, either for tournaments or shootout players, and the reason for that, even though you might think looking at the aerial, yes there's a patch of fairway underneath where I've got the 10% in a black box, but it is not even at all. It is very bumpy and very difficult to get a consistent landing point. So even though you can bounce over there, for reliability and consistency and accuracy, I would recommend to shy away from that unless you absolutely have to. The rough bump is a decent shout for both shootouts and tournament play because there is plenty of rough to aim at. Setting up with the Sniper there if possible, you've got a good ring either side. So even if you misadjust or catch a great left or right. You shouldn't go into the bunker and you shouldn't fly the green. In headwind, this hole is a challenge from middle tee and also from third tee. Now third tee, the white line will come into play a lot more. Playing with backspin, you're going to have to use your driver here. So this is a shootout to focus on if you are playing higher up in the tours and this one comes up. You will need to get some adjustments dialed in on this one. If you're adjusting in crosswind from right to left, you adjust uphill. So that will affect your outcome of the shot as well. And similarly with the rough bump, it's not all plain sailing, as you may well be adjusting down into the bunker. So take your time on that one. But as I say, general elevation is up there as a starting point. If you've enjoyed this video guide, check out the others for the different courses in the game. They will be up on the channel in the same playlist. Lots of stuff to help you approach all the courses that you may face in the game of Golf Clash. And remember, the perks available on Patreon as well. Thank you for watching, and please remember to share this video with your friends and clanmates in the game. Take care. Bye for now.